Hey friends, Kevin here coming at you from beautiful but unbelievably windy Oklahoma, which is why I'm doing this video inside the van, because even though I have a windscreen on a microphone that is literally the size of a baseball, when you get into these 30-mile-an-hour winds, there's just nothing that's going to help. So you may see the next couple of videos from inside the van, but it will allow me to also show you some things inside the van that you may need to know. But this one's going to be, I don't want to call it an I told you so video, but it's going to be the perfect example of why you need to carry some of the things that we've talked about in previous videos. Because you are going to run into odd situations on the road. You are going to need to refill water, and you're going to not have a place to hook a water hose onto whatever spigot you're using. So you have this device for doing it. But the main thing today, and the perfect example of where I've been the last few days, which is in a campground with hookups, is dealing with electricity. Now, some of you may be in a minivan, and we've talked about, all you need is a heavy-duty extension cord, and that's going to be a basically 15-amp device. Sometimes they'll call it a 20-amp device, but an extension cord is going to let you plug things in just like you would the wall socket at home. When you get into other devices, other types of rigs, like this rig has a built-in 30 amp, and that's what older RVs had. That's what a lot of smaller RVs have, is a 30 amp hookup, which is a bigger plug. And then for the monster RVs that are running 2 and 3 air conditioners on top and all of that stuff, you have a 50 amp service plug-in. Now, most places that you go, when you flip open the box outside, you're going to have a 50 amp, and you're going to have a 30 amp, and you're going to have the 15 or 20 amp to just plug an extension cord into. You're going to have all three of those, and you pick whichever one you need, whichever one your rig or your van has, and you're good to go. But I've also talked about you need adapters. You need to be able to go from one to another, because you can't always count on wherever you've paid to camp that you have a full hookup. You can't count on those always working. So maybe you're in a situation where you have a 30 amp and the 30 amp in your box just doesn't work. There's something wrong with it. You will run into those situations all the time. But oddly, the situation I ran into in this campground in Oklahoma is every box in this campground only has 50 amp. That's it. So me having a 30 amp rig means I need an adapter. And if I don't have an adapter with me, that means I've got to stop and go somewhere and hope that I can get one. Now, from where I am now, it's about 12 miles probably out of the way to go to a Walmart. However, as we all know, with what has gone on in the last year, you can't always count on places having what you need. And I have run into this with odd stuff, not just in van stuff, and so have you walking through stores. You will see things that just, the shelf is empty. The spot for the shelf is empty and has been for months. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to Walmart or hardware stores or whatever, they just don't have whatever it is. And right before I left on this trip, at home base, I needed to change out an outlet that went bad, a wall outlet, and I needed the little electrical tester to be able to do this because it was a ground fault circuit, the little pin-shaped one that has a battery in it. You turn it on, and when you put it next to a live wire, it goes beep, 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 beep. Amazingly, no one in my area has one of those. I went to, I think, 9 different stores. I went to everything in the county that I live in, and nobody had one of these. And one of the hardware places, I walked in, I said, "Hey, do you have this?" And he started laughing. It's like, "Man, we've had those on order for months." So finally, I called around and found a friend that had one, and he brought it over to me so I could fix that outlet before I left on this trip. But there are just odd things. So before a year ago, you could pretty much count on, oh, I can just run to the store and get whatever I need. You can't really count on that right now. And adapters are one of those things to change from one voltage to another. So you need to pick these up. If they have them in your area, you need to order them from Amazon. If you don't, the links to all this will be below. So what you want to be able to do, like my situation with this large van with the 30 amp hookup, I want to have an adapter so I can go from 30 to 50. And I also want to have an adapter so I can step down and go from 30 to 15. Just in case I'm somewhere, and that situation is pretty much going to be if I'm at a friend's house somewhere, I'm driveway camping for the night, whatever, I can run an extension cord and plug into whatever that they have. So you want to be able to do that. If you have a 50 amp rig, you want to be able to step down to 30, and in a worst case situation, you want to be able to step down from 30 to 15. Again, so you're covered in any situation. If you have, just say you're out in a minivan or a little cargo van you've converted and all you have is 15 amp, you're just running the heavy duty orange extension cord to something, you want to be able to go from 15 to 30. That's not going to give you more power. It's just going to let you plug your 15 amp into a 30 amp and it will step that down for you so things aren't blowing up or overheating. And you need a 30 to 50 adapter because you may run into a weird situation like this that there's only one choice, which is the 50 amp, in which case you would take your extension cord, your 15 amp extension cord, you would plug into the 30 amp adapter, and then you would plug your 30 amp adapter into the 50 amp adapter, and then you would plug your 50 amp adapter into the slot in the box. There are just all kinds of situations you're going to be running into when you get out on the road. And these are why these little things you want to have with you. That water bandit is less than $10. The adapters that you're going to use are probably less than $15 a piece to be able to switch from this one type of electric to another. So you're going to have $20 or $30 in these adapters, but they don't take up much space and they're going to be very, very valuable to you in your travels. Because you just don't want to be out in a situation where you're kicking yourself going, man, I wish I had whatever this is, or you're spending half the day and burning up a lot of gas running around some town or over to the nearest city trying to find something that these stores just may not have in stock anymore. So these are my suggestions for things that you should have with you regardless of what type of van you have, whether you're weekending doing van life, whether you're full-timing doing van life, doesn't matter what type of van you have, you need these different adapters. And again, the links are down in the comments below. If you can think of anything else like that you just run into or have run into yourself in odd situations, things that just people ought to 100% carry with them, put that down in the comments below. Let us know what your experiences are. Because if you've heard me say before, we all learn from each other. And hopefully you guys and gals have learned a lot from me, but I learn a lot from what a lot of times you put down in the comments, or it'll make me think about something a different way. Or sometimes it's something I never thought about having with me that's like, oh, well, that makes sense. And that's a good thing to kind of add to what we have. There's other videos that I've just done. Some of these may be a little bit out of order with what's happening. You saw the storm video, the van getting a little bit of storm damage, but it's annoying, but it happens. I've damaged the van before, because I go out in some raw areas sometimes, and I've knocked a mirror off each van that I have. So things kind of happen. I'm not too worried about that little dent and some scuff marks. But have some other things coming up. I'm going to do a full tour of this van. I've done a little tour of this van before, but I want to do a full tour of this van lived in, because right now we've been on the road for a couple of weeks. We are 1,000 miles from home, and everyone shows you this stuff all pretty sitting in their driveway or different things. I'm going to show you what this thing is like packed up with the things that you're going to need to have and need to store. For those of you that are just getting started into this stuff, so you'll see what's not perfect. You'll see the way it really is with trying to live and survive in this stuff out here for weeks or months at a time. If you have an idea for a video, never hesitate to let me know that. Those links to other stuff popping up. You can always go down in the description, see videos that you may have missed that you may be interested in, and we'll talk soon.